All right. Well, this is the Strange Origins podcast. I'm Jack.
I'm Mark, and just to be clear, that's still a working title name,
Yeah, every week I'm gonna try and pitch a name until Mark likes it.
definitely. And next week, I'm hoping for Stranger Oranges, maybe.
That might be a good
That
one
might be a
actually.
good name.
Strange fruit.
Strange fruit. On the topic of fruit, I think one thing we're definitely going to talk about today is Animal Crossing, which has
Yes.
fruit in it. That's the segue.
The
Worst segue in the
the,
universe.
the sensation that's taken everyone by storm because of isolation.
It's a strange sensation, you know. You never would have sat there and thought so many people would be playing Animal Crossing of all games
Well,
in
yeah.
in the heat of an
I mean, as
isolation.
as you know, this is my first Animal Crossing, so I've actually never played one
Yeah.
before. And I remember when the game was actually coming out, I was saying to you, why would you ever play this game? Like, I
That
don't
game.
actually get it.
Yeah, never underestimate how much of a hard pitch that game is to, convince people to play it. Every single person who you ever talk to about this game, they always ask you, like, what is the purpose of Animal Crossing? Like, what is it exactly that you do in Animal Crossing?
I think I asked you that
Um,
same exact question, and then after you realized, you were like, "Yeah, Jack, just don't buy the game. Like you won't like the
yeah,
game."
it depends because I feel like Animal Crossing is a similar game to Undertale in regards to the personality of it and the way characters speak to you and that sort of
I
thing.
guess like the
So
freedom
the
as
way
well.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I saw it as almost synonymous with that, like that aspect of like freely wandering the world and speaking to few characters, I guess, of
Yeah,
nature.
I do like the whole relaxing element to it. Like I never really thought of it being like that. Like when
Yeah.
I was thinking about the game and you were describing it to me, I actually thought it would be like a shitter version of Stardew Valley. Um, but it's
Yes.
actually not. It's got its own charm, its own thing where you want to talk to people and you actually want to you actually care for your villagers. Like
Yeah.
one of mine actually recently was ill, and I was like, oh, I gotta bring you
Mm.
medicine. I raced halfway across the town to make my craft that medicine and then bring it back to him. So I do feel that sort of
It's
connection sometimes.
it's strange because just that instance is insanely cute, and that's a big deal with the latest Animal Crossing,
Yeah.
of all things. You're walking around and everything, you're just like, oh, even the shape of this apple is super adorable. So it sounds lame, but like
No, it
honestly
does, but
speaking, man.
like, the funny thing is, I didn't even like that villager, and I don't want him. Like, it's just, but I was like, he's ill, I gotta save him. Like, it was very strange.
Is that the villager you were saying
No, so
you intend to evict at some
no,
point,
so coming
or
to that topic is like, so I don't know if anyone else is how far they're in the game, but once you get to a certain point, trying to keep it spoiler free, you do get visitors to your islands, and they do come and have a look around and stuff like that, and you can ask them to stay and like actually pick up a house there. Um, However, there was one guy whose name was Eugene. He's like a koala, very workaholic koala. He's got like one hand, he's got a coffee in his hand. He's got a suit on. He's very much like that. Don't like him. I think he's got a horrible personality. I don't want him on my island, right? So you speak to him, and he goes, "Hello, my name's Eugene," and all that stuff. I'm here looking at your place and all that stuff. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." Um, but if you talk to him again, you get locked into a text where it's like, "Oh, do you want to live on my island?" And the other option is,
mm.
hey, do you want to stay here? There is no option to say, I don't want you on my island. So I had to press A. I had to press A. I couldn't back out of that conversation. So now he is living on my island, and I have nothing. I can't do anything about it. Like,
Wow.
there is no way to back out of that conversation. So I was very annoyed about having Eugene stay there.
So you had the choice between having him move in or being passive aggressive, and you chose to let him move in. Is that
So,
what happened,
so
or?
no, both the options
Oh yeah.
were moving.
Oh wow. Okay.
There was no option. There was no negative option. It was just you either move in or move in now. And like,
As I was gonna say, because I had a similar interaction on one of the other islands where I met, say, like an elephant, and I was like, "No way are you moving into my town." And I was speaking to him, and he was like, "Oh, like I really like this paradise island. I wonder what it'd be like to live permanently as a resident on one of these places." And there was like two options came up was like, "Hey, do you want to move into my town?" Or, "Ah, you know what? Like this island's great. You should stay here." And I came up with the second one. I was like, "Hey, have you seen that tree over there? It's great. You should go look at that tree." And then I ran away. I was like, never talking to that character
see,
again.
yeah, if on when you go to a different island, you can definitely do that. If they come to your island, you cannot do not talk to them twice if you don't want them there. I've made that mistake. Do
Yeah.
not fall down the same mistake, my friend. um,
Me and my little sister, we watched an anime recently called Beastars, right?
oh yeah,
And it's about animals living in a community. It's very much like that Zootopia movie.
okay,
Yeah, same analogies and all that. Uh, there's one animal we're looking for specifically called Lobo, who's a wolf. And recently you told me there's over 300 characters, like
Yes.
unique animal characters in Animal Crossing, which is a lot of characters. Me and my little sister were under the impression that one day we would find Lobo and rename him Legoshi, which is the
Can
name of
you
the actual
actually
character. I love the
rename
name
him?
Legoshi, by the way. No, you can't. So we're gonna walk around and just keep calling him Legoshi.
Your name is that now.
Like honestly, yeah, I want a dog now, and I want to call him Legoshi. I
Honestly,
still want a
like
cat called Giselle.
I
Though,
just want a better animals. Like at the moment, all I've got a kangaroo, I've got a koala, so I'm very Australian apparently. I've got a
Are you? Yeah, I
mouse,
was gonna say.
and I've got a rabbit. Those are the only ones I've got.
what, what happened,
I
man?
don't know. I went down
I,
under.
I, honestly, yeah, you visited Australia too much, and the animals came back with you. They sort of squatted in your boat, maybe.
Who do you have? Like, what animals do you have on yours?
I will say it's slowly getting impressive. We recently had a lion called Elvis who moved in, and I was
Okay.
like, I like the fact that he's a lion. Get it? Because he's like the king.
Yeah, that's
It's
pretty good
brilliant,
actually.
you know.
You're
He,
big on the
but
puns.
also he dresses like a goddamn king. Like he actually dresses in the robes. So every time I
Wow.
see Elvis walking around, I'm like, this is so on the nose. It's beautiful. Like honestly, we got two wolves who moved in, which makes me proud. Like
Okay.
I'm happy to have wolves in the
So,
city.
so how many people do you have in total in your place?
8 now,
Wow. Okay. So you got
and
quite
I
a lot.
have 10 residential buildings. Yeah,
Oh my
so
God.
you can get quite a lot of people
I
to
think
move in.
is it maximum? I think it's 12. You can have.
Is it maximum 12? I hope it's 12. That'd be wonderful.
I think so. I'm not too sure,
Yeah.
but I think I remember reading it. But someone correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah,
Yeah. On the DS it's 8, so 10 like 12 is a big step up.
so like looping back to like annoying Eugene and stuff like that, and people you want to get rid of your island. I actually read about how you get rid of your islanders, and it's not great. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It's not a
It's
great way
not
of doing it.
great.
So apparently you know that girl Isabel. You have to go to her
Yes.
and you have to talk about a resident, and you have to click that option.
Oh.
You have to talk about it, and then you have to talk about it negatively. You have to say to her, I don't like the way this person dresses, or I don't like the way this person talks to me, which is
Oh my
horrible
God.
because none of them ever talk to you bad. So
That is
you've
harsh.
already got to say that, right? And then you've got to do that, I think, for 7 days in a row. You've got to complain
Oh
about
my God.
that.
You gotta bully. You gotta basically talk behind this character's
Yeah,
back until they leave.
they force you to be passive aggressive to these people to try and get them off your island in order to move out, and I don't want to do
That
it.
is so brutal.
As much as I don't like
Honestly,
Eugene, I don't want to do that.
yeah, you can tell this is a Japanese game, you know. You can imagine if you worked in a Japanese company, you just got to talk shit about a customer for like
Yeah.
7 days in a row to a manager, and eventually they'll fire him.
Like I
You know?
just love the fact that I can't go up to Eugene and be like, "Hey, I don't actually want you to live here. I just spoke to you nicely." Instead, you have to go, that bitch Eugene. He's been talking to me badly. I don't like the way he dresses. It's horrible.
Yeah, and then you see Eugene on the street, you're like, "Yo, Eugene, what's going up? Like, we're
Yeah.
good friends, aren't we?"
Oh, you've got a DIY
Here's a
recipe for
banana.
me? Here you go.
Oh, that's so evil.
It
Yeah,
is.
okay.
And
I didn't know it was that
even
bad.
to the point where Isabel says, "Do you want me to go and talk to them?" I'm like, "No, I just want you to get rid of him. I don't want you to. I don't want him to live here." So I'm. This game was meant to be peaceful. You like.
Yeah.
You sold it to me as being a nice, relaxing game. I'm not relaxed, Mark. I'm not relaxed at all.
Well, how many days are you into shit talking this character?
I've only done the one, and then I backed out because I got pussy. And I was like, I don't want to do it.
It's dark because that's what I'm gonna have to start doing because I need Legoshi to move in. Like,
I want
my
cool
my town
animal.
doesn't run.
I want an owl or something like that. Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't want
You
a
already
damn
got
koala.
Blathers.
Yeah, but
That's
Blathers
fair.
annoys me by saying the same voice lines over and over again.
He does, yeah, and most of it you just skip through trying to, donate your
Like-
items. That's one thing that was interesting towards the beginning of the game was
Oh, yeah.
before Blathers moved in, you can donate insects and was it fish maybe
Yeah,
and
fish
fossils
and
to the
fossils,
museum.
yeah.
And I would get a stream of photos from you and like other friends of ours who are playing the game of just people stockpiling animals, and it was getting absolutely ridiculous. One of the better photos was the one in your tiny little tent where you had, up to the roof, just
Yeah.
all of it sea creatures
I'm
and
not gonna
insects.
lie. Like I started stacking them all in my houses and stuff like that, and then I saw one of our friends on the WhatsApp groups put her picture up, and I was like, oh, you can store them outside. That's clever. Like I was like sleeping in a storeroom, like while she was like, I'm gonna put them outside. It's probably a better idea. Yeah, I wasn't very clever in that aspect of it.
I will say one special treat about the game, and recently we had our own, design face-off competition
We
where
did.
everyone could, because in the game you can design your own hats, kimonos, shirts, whatever style you want,
Mhm.
and it's sort of pixel art based. You just sit there and you draw it out. And I asked everyone to, create a summer hat for me, and they had 2 days, and the winner would win 10,000, which I haven't paid off yet because I'm lazy. And yeah,
10,999
like
actually.
Yeah, 10,000 because you inflated the price,
I
you
did.
haggled me in a competition, which is insane.
In a competition where I didn't even submit something.
Which made it worse because you were the only one who didn't submit, which made you the unbiased judge, and you were never going to vote for me.
I
You wanted to
look,
see me pay off
look.
that money.
I think on the next podcast I will put up a couple of pictures of what they actually looked like. But I think everyone would agree to me or with me that the watermelon hat was the best.
I'm annoyed because I definitely agree.
Like
Like
I
you
saw
sell
your
me.
design, I was like, oh, yours is actually pretty cool. The yin and yang sort of thing, the summer vibe. I like that. And then I saw
Yes,
watermelon, I was like, oh
yes.
well, Mark's lost. Like there's no way he's gonna win. I'm sorry.
You know how certain I was when I had that hat. I was like, this is a genius summer hat. No one's going to compete with this. And then
Especially
I
when I
also saw the
was
watermelon hat.
especially when I was
Yeah.
unbiased and like and in being the yin and yang, I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Like I like it. And then nope, watermelon man for the win.
I was like, when I saw the watermelon hat, I was like, why didn't I think watermelon? Like, why didn't that come to me?
It just looked like a
God damn
refreshing
it.
hat. It really did.
It really did.
And then
It's surprising. I haven't managed to join you guys playing that online yet, and I know you
no,
managed to play with a couple of other people from the group chat.
only one to be
So
fair, and I only did it once. So I haven't because I mean the person that we're talking about has 75 hours in the game, which is absolutely nuts to me. Like I have 25, so
that's what happens when a game drops at the beginning of an isolation, isn't
I'm
it?
not gonna lie. Like your hours are probably inflated because I think you're playing with your sister, right? You're both playing on the same console,
Oh, definitely.
so your hours are probably
Yep.
exponentially higher than that. But like mine as a
Yeah.
solo player is 25 hours. It's really not that long for an Animal Crossing game. Like, and
Yeah.
I can't compete with a 75-hour person. Like that's nuts.
Now that you bring it up, also, like that's one of the wonders of the game, isn't it? Is that me and you put completely different amount of hours into the game, but we still get a similar amount of satisfaction from it.
Yeah, and I think I even have the same level of house that you do. So like
You do.
it's to the point where you don't really need to farm that much actually in that game. I mean, you can get the mansion as fast as possible, but for me, like
Yeah.
I devoted my life to stocks or stonks as we're
Yeah.
calling them.
Stonks. Your stonk market is absolutely hilarious.
Like I have got a whole book. For anyone who doesn't know, I've got a whole book and I've got it listed out, and I know when I'm gonna sell. At the moment, turnip prices have been terrible. I don't know if you've looked, but I bought them at 90, I think 96 per turnip. They haven't risen above 80 since
Wow.
Sunday. So I'm slowly getting panicking. I'm like, did I just
I think
waste a
you.
lot of money here?
I heard you say you saved up over 100,000 bells maybe for
Yeah,
this.
so
Was
it's not
that
as
the
much as
number?
I've seen like other people, but yeah, I have bought 2,100 turnips.
That blew
Is
me.
how
That
much I
blew me away.
like.
Honestly, when you said that, I honestly imagine you with a coffee mug and the nerdy glasses, and you're looking at the graphs and just analyzing where the stock market's going.
I would have bought more. I just didn't have time. Like that's how bad it was. Like my whole separate room. You know when you've got an extra part of your
You
house.
sound like you're running a business.
I am. I need money. This is the only way I'm gonna make. I'm not gonna fish every day. I really can't be asked. So, and I told you about my controller. Like it doesn't vibrate, so I can't actually tell when
Yes.
the fish has grabbed it sometimes. So I'm at a severe disadvantage in the angular sort of aspect of this game. So I need to like get money somewhere else. And at the moment,
Yeah,
it's
I
stocks.
definitely see that. It's a genius move. You're gonna make so much money when the stonk market rises to 130 bells to the turnip.
Dude, if
I
I
can
have
imagine.
seen screenshots on Twitter of some people's turnip prices being 435.
400. You know what? I didn't even know it went that high.
Yeah, and if
Like
I could
because you're on
sell,
the internet.
if I could sell that, that's nuts. Do
That would be insane. The amount of money you would take over, the turnover
you know what?
would be
I'm
incredible.
actually gonna get a calculator out and just see how much that would be. That would be 913,000 bells. That would be nearly
Oh
a
my,
million bells.
that's insanity.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for the day where I can
I
invest
think
into my house.
you've sold me on. I'm gonna fish all night and all day tomorrow, listening to our podcast, the sound of our voices talking about
Oh,
Animal Crossing while I do
how self-aggrandizing.
it. That's
Honestly, like
fantastic.
I should open up a little business in Animal Crossing and handle people's stocks. Like it would be great.
You can actually build your own storefront. So when I come to your world, like you would have a storefront and maybe like a little fence
Oh, there you
boarding
go.
you off in there. And you have like the one turnip on the desk,
Please, if you see,
just selling off.
you know the green banker hats where they have the see-through cap, you know where you wear it round and you're doing like the taxes. Have you ever seen that
Yeah,
hat?
yeah,
If you ever see that in
I
your
have,
shop,
yeah.
please buy it for me because I will buy that off
I
you
will.
for like 100 turnips. I'll give you 100 turnips.
We're gonna get you a stockbroker uniform if we can. That would be brilliant.
It'd be perfect.
You'll Yeah, it'll be like the Wolf of Wall Street, the
Yeah.
Animal Crossing version, I
I'm waiting
guess.
for a suit to come out in the game, and then that's it. I'm done. I did
Yeah, you
I did on terms of clothes actually. I did open up I've opened up my tailors now. So I did buy a few
nice.
things. I bought an eye patch, and I was like, you could do an awesome Solid Snake like outfit.
Yes.
And I, like I was thinking that might be a way to go on that game as well.
Isn't it like it's really cool because I think you can actually put up on display your own designs and also access designs people have made online.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
So
I published
pretty
my
sure they
Link
have some
outfit.
crazy stuff on there.
Yeah,
That's a genius move to publish that Link outfit because it looks pretty exact. Like you
I
are
do like it.
definitely
Like,
Link.
but I've actually gone to what I wear everyday life actually now. Like I'm wearing like the jeans, like the red boots and stuff like that. Like I'm actually wearing that. So,
I'm gonna say same here, and it's gone to the extent where I want to buy like matching colored clothes because this game has helped me like pattern out what
well,
designs would look good
you
together.
do say same here, but I'm pretty sure I saw your outfit and it was all pink, and I was like, I don't know about that.
Oh, that was that was me embracing my inner blossom, you
Right.
know.
Okay. Yeah. It's not
It's
something you
yeah,
would
no, that
wear at
uniform.
all.
Well, I don't know. Give it time, and some more of these RuPaul Drag Race series. Like, let me watch some more of those, and maybe I'll change.
Honestly, we could probably talk about Animal
Um,
Crossing for a long, long time. So,
100%. Yeah. I think the other topic we wanted to talk about was the movie you watched.
yeah. So I
That we
heard
mentioned
apparently
in the last
you
podcast.
watched it, right?
I have, and absolutely incredible movie. I cannot recommend the platform more if, for you viewers who haven't seen it.
Yeah.
You're in isolation, you've got nothing else to do, get your ass down there, watch these foreign movies because unlike Hollywood movies or these generic movies they put up on Netflix, these foreign movies they're beyond they go beyond the grasp of the normal narrative structure, they can do a lot more wild things. They don't need to shoehorn romance or just random things into their
Yeah,
concept
I
and
think that they go a lot more riskier. You know, they go for something that no other people want to address, and I think like this one in particular, without sounding like an edgy guy, is actually something that addresses capitalism in our society. So it's actually quite interesting to watch. Um, my dumb brain when I first watched it was taking it too literally, and I was like, "Oh, what's going on? I don't really get it." And then,
I I
yeah,
also think that's the joy of it, right? Because you took it too literally, and I think you can go either way. You can run away with the metaphor definitely,
yeah,
but it's also very enjoyable if you just sit there and go, how does this work in that universe?
it
Like
really
how does
did.
one
I
survive
wanted
that?
to know. I wanted to know what they were getting out of this. I wanted to know why you went in there voluntarily and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
obviously, you don't. It
definitely
doesn't really
felt the
cover
same
it.
thing.
I don't know if it's maybe based on a book or something. I would definitely read it. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's definitely a good film to recommend to people and to watch. I think
yeah.
most people would get a
I
kick
mean,
out of it.
as you mentioned, yeah, in the last podcast, it's the entire premise is based around a huge stack of food that is made, to a high degree, like a five-star chef course just
Yeah,
made on this giant table, enough food to feed hundreds of people, and it's dropped floor by floor, one after another. And if everyone had taken just enough to
yeah,
keep themselves going, everyone could eat. But that never happens because the people at the top, they'll eat a huge amount. They'll just they'll eat as much as they can because they don't know where they're going to be next month.
yeah,
And it rotates monthly, isn't it? Like
yeah,
one month you'll be on floor 5 where you have all the access to food, wine, everything, and then tomorrow you can wake up on floor 172 and there'll be no food for a month. You don't know where you're going to get your food from,
yeah.
and you're looking at your cellmate.
And without going,
You
yeah,
start to
exactly.
starve.
Without going into too much detail, it does get dark, and it's actually really, really interesting to watch that sort of unfold. And what would you do in that sort of situation where you've got nothing else you can do? I do
Absolutely.
like the main actor as well. I don't actually know his name. I should really find that out. But
Yeah.
he was quite phenomenal as well. I felt the
Yeah,
emotion
yeah,
on his
yeah.
face every time he was talking, and that it was very good.
Here's here's an interesting thing that I wanted to get your opinion on.
Hmm.
To run away with the metaphor a little bit. There's one character, I believe Miharu, like some sort of like Japanese actress or something like that, who went into the hole for her own,
Oh yeah, yeah,
purposes.
yeah.
Yeah, she's the one who rides the platform of food down every month, and she
Hmm.
always kills her cellmate. And there's, I don't want to spoil too much about her, but
Yeah.
other than that, what do you think the metaphor for her is? Where do you think they were going with that? I'm curious.
Um. Well, I just feel like she was like the person who was representative of the person that was going against the society and trying to go against the system and trying to look after the one thing that she was trying to seek, which I don't want to reveal what it was, but like what she was trying to find in that place and what she was trying to protect from that place. I feel like is a metaphor for a lot of what people who try and go against the system try and do. Um, and in the end, like you don't know if you can or not. So I think it's quite an interesting thing, that one.
I think that's very interesting. Yeah, to follow on from that point, I guess if she's defying that normal structure, her life's a very conflicted one, especially in the whole compared to most other people.
Yeah,
Just going against that system led to a lot of extreme violence and a high stress,
yeah. Like
scenario.
she took it by the
Uh,
hands, like is what I thought. Like what she was trying to do anyway.
she did. She was definitely embracing life and defying, I guess, yeah, the system in
Mm.
every way. So I definitely can see it from that angle. I think that's a good
Yeah,
example.
no,
Towards the end, they wanted to send a symbolic message to the
they
higher
definitely did.
ups.
Yeah, and like what they ended
Yeah,
up doing with that is like quite good actually. I didn't get it at first, and then the more I thought about like sending a message, sort of like untouched by the system, if you will, was quite
I
interesting.
did. I agree. I thought it was rather like incredible, just the notion of what they were trying
Yeah,
to tell the higher ups.
yeah.
So yeah,
But
definitely. But
um,
one of my favorite characters,
mm,
because at the end of the month, right, you get moved from floor to floor, and every now and then you get moved to floor 6 or 5, like the
yeah,
really high ones. There was that black character, was it Baharat?
yeah,
I
and he
think
was
his
trying
name
to
was.
like ascend, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely incredible character. I loved
Yeah,
his personality right from the beginning.
I
I
love
don't know.
that
He,
actually.
he kind of But symbolically, he really reminded me of someone who won the lottery because the way he
What do you
treated it, he
think?
was like, "I'm on fire," was one of the things he said. He's looking at
Mm.
the number, he's so joyful,
Yeah, I mean,
as if
from what I got from him was he was like a representation of the working man, like trying to work his way up,
yes,
and I did like that, like, and he knew where he came from, sort of thing, but
yeah.
he was
I
always
like
trying to help people, I think.
Yeah, as you said, he's trying to work his way up. Everyone could bring one item with them into the hole, and he decided to bring a rope with him.
Yeah,
And one thing that I found was like really interesting was he would throw the rope up to whoever's on the higher floor, and he would ask for them to help him climb or ascend to this other tier
yeah,
or other floor. And it was interesting to see, like in our society, say I wanted to go from the middle class to the upper class, like if
mm.
I extended a rope to the upper class, would they take me on that rope? Like like
Yeah,
that
and
moral,
I think that's the idea of the film. Is like some people might and some people won't. You don't really know.
yeah,
I think like it's based on human nature, and that's the most volatile thing sometimes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So not non-metaphorically, if me and you were stuck in this platform, say like on floor 200,
Mm.
what do you reckon is our plan of survival? Would you tie me down and eat me in a couple of days,
I
or
mean, I'm
how would
not gonna
this
lie.
go?
Floor 200 of that film is like no food. So, like,
Yeah,
I think one of the things that they try and say in the film is it doesn't matter if your friends like after 2 weeks of like not eating, you turn into animals. So I
yeah.
wouldn't even
Is
on a real note, I wouldn't even begin to know what I could have done in that situation.
I think that's a very accurate point. I was listening to another podcast,
Mm,
funnily enough, today, and they were talking about how you respond to gunshots. And
mm.
what one individual was saying, you never know like what happens to your body until you hear an actual
Exactly.
gunshot
Yeah.
like nearby. You completely transform. There's no like prepared response
Because
that you can
I've
follow.
known people in my friendship circle to just say, oh, if this happened,
Oh
I
yeah,
would do this and do that. It's like, well, you don't really actually know until it actually happens. That's the thing. Is like your body goes into a
definitely.
shock and into a fight or flight. And I mean, we've all been there. Like sometimes when you're panicking, that you can't actually control it. You can't calm yourself down. It's very difficult. You
I
know.
can definitely agree with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
But
Like I will suggest this, quickly.
yeah. On a final note.
Just before you start salivating, at the look of me, is that maybe when the dinner plate falls to the floor beneath us, after a week when the people beneath us are a little bit like low on energy or weak, we just jump down there like tigers and we just rustle them
Yeah.
to the ground.
I mean, there is no rule against that. I don't think. So like,
Yeah, I was, hopefully we'll go with that instead. But then
if there's
we gotta look
anyone,
above.
yeah, if there's anyone below us, because there were some floors where
Yeah,
there was nothing. So.
that was incredible, wasn't it? It was very eerie seeing
Mm.
that when the dinner plate would just keep going. It wouldn't
Oh
even
yeah.
stop on those platforms.
But yeah, no, I think that was about wraps it up for now. We've been going for about 25 minutes, so thanks everyone for listening, if you were. And
And
yeah,
thanks again for having me.
yeah, no, that was
Cheers.
great, awesome.